gas well when you're fracking another one? Mini myth. I'm only going to show you one slide. And you do see here that here is the frac job's happening over here, and you'll notice that there is whatever. Okay, another mini myth. Fracs and shales stay in zone. How many people understand what that means?
No idea.
Raise your hand. Not many. So in the oil and gas industry, the zone is the pay zone, the area where your resource is. In this case, the Marcellus Shale. That's where the pay zone is. That's where the gas is. And when you're doing the fracking, expending all that money, all that effort, all that energy, pumping all that fluid down there, all you're trying to do is stimulate the pay zone. You really don't want to expend all that energy, time, and money fracking rock where there ain't no gas. So one of the objectives in designing and executing a frac job is to make sure the fracs stay in zone. And one of the mini myths is, don't worry about it, fracs stay in zone. There's no possibility of frac height growth into rock formations above or below the pay zone. So that's the myth. Here's the data directly from the oil and gas industry. And by the way, at every opportunity I have tonight, I will show you data produced by the oil and gas industry, not by some lowly professor at Cornell or some even lowlier professor at Duke. Your sense of humor is coming on. More about Duke later tonight. Yeah. So let me explain this data very quickly, because this is a mini myth. We can quickly dispense with it. A horizontal axis is the cumulative number of frac stages that have been performed in a number of wells drilled in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio in the Marcellus Formation. So you can think of the horizontal axis of here is a stage that was performed down at 9,000 feet, and over here is a stage that was performed at 5,000 feet, and in between are hundreds and hundreds of frac stages from dozens of wells, which have been instrumented using the best available technology, microseismic technology, to try to detect, using microseismic information, how high the fracs went. Now, how many people here can tell me how thick, on average, the Marcellus Shale Formation is? 1 foot, 10 foot, or 100 feet? Pick a number. 1, 10, or 100?
100.
More or less 100. Could be 200, could be 250. Sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's... But it's not 1,000 feet thick. If it were, they'd be drilling on my property. Okay, so here's the data, and it shows, this is the blue line I'm asking you to look at. This is the detected height of the highest frac from each of those stages. And I purposely put in these red lines to indicate that in some cases the fracs had grown 1,800 feet, 1,500 feet, 1,200 feet, 1,000 feet above the level of the production casing. In other words, the fracs had grown 5, 6, 7 times the height of the thickness. Industry data. What's the implication to this? Well, there are a couple of implications that demand science to investigate. This is data. Data should be turned into information. What does this mean? Could this have partially explained where the water goes that doesn't come back? Could it possibly explain how methane might be migrating upwards through rock formations that have been fractured higher than we thought they were? Could it mean that these very large excursions, 1,800 feet, 1,500 feet, are occurring on pre-existing fault systems? And if so, what does that imply? These are science questions that demand answers. But the myth is that fracs stay in zone. In fact, they don't. Another mini myth. In Pennsylvania, operators are recycling up to 90% of their flowback waste. Oh, give me a break. Okay, so you know that starting in 2009, companies were, all operators in Pennsylvania were required to start reporting all production, both gas and waste, from their wells in Pennsylvania. And during the first 12-month period, which began July 1, 2009, ended June 30, 2010, the actual recycling rate across the industry was 20%. Okay? So we were told by the industry, just wait, we're getting better. We're learning how to do it right. We're inventing new technologies as we go along. This is technology come lately. When we got to Pennsylvania, we never heard of the word recycling. But now we need it, so we're inventing it, and we're moving very quickly so that in the second 6-month period, initially the report was that 60% had been recycled, and then, of course, as you well know, somebody discovered that a barrel is not equal to a gallon.